learners, this year we are grandly going to celebrate 75th year of our Indian Constitution as we adopted our Constitution back in 1949, 26 November. So on this occasion, without getting into the facts or without getting into the objectives of this, we'll try to analyze where do we stand today. Did we try to achieve the goals of whatever our constituent or our forefathers aimed for India or for the citizens of people? We'll basically try to analyze this and utilize those points in our mains answer, how grandly or how well we stood with our democratic values or the republic or any such values which are enshrined in our constitution. So before that, we will analyze exactly what is the relevance of this topic. Yeah, definitely it's a very pride movement that we are upholding our democracy throughout the years since we constituted. In and around, if we see in our neighbors or our neighboring countries, the lot of times we've seen or witnessed that democracy has fallen down. There is fall of government, instability, lot of civil rebellions, all such things. So we are very proud to say that such kind of things have not taken place in the country. There's a smooth transition of power happened every 5 years after the elections. So putting that sentiment aside, we will see this particular concept where it can be related to or how our examiner can pose this topic in our mains question. So coming to our GS paper 2, which is the core, they can ask you what are the historical underpinnings or the recent amendments or challenges. In these three concepts, they can ask you or they can ask you to analyze how so far we have been upholding the constitutional values or what are the recent amendments. Try to analyze or critically analyze. Such kind of questions one can ask. And also in our GS1, they can ask you to analyze or criticize or examine socio-economic developments in post-independence India. So you should definitely know what are the developments done so far or from since then till today. And even in your ethics paper, they can ask you role of constitution in promoting democratic values. So to promote democratic values, what has constitution played role in? Even in essay paper, they can ask you like the Indian Constitution, a living document. They just ask you and try or expect you to write an essay on that line. Or India at 75, upholding constitutional values. See, these two topics of the essay is a very great question. If you try to address these two questions, you can make a note of whatever we are discussing and also whatever the articles or anything you come across relating to the 75 years of our constitution. Try to answer any of this whichever you are comfortable, and also at the end of the video I have given you particular GS2 question relating to the constitution itself. Try to even answer that. So getting into the topic, some basic facts we will try to analyze or understand. We have adopted the constitution back in 26th November 1949, wherein everything, whatever the articles we have written, everything started coming into force from 26th January 1950. So on this day onwards, we started celebrating Republic Day on this grand occasion. And also our India established values or our nature like sovereign, socialist, secular and democratic republic with ensuring justice, liberty, equality and fraternity as our guiding principles. These are enshrined in our preamble. If you see our preamble, these words are there. Then over 75 years, we have evolved and we have evolved in such a way that we took care of everything in the process of evolution. We are not so rigid on whatever the condition or the situations were there in 1950. We did not see that the same conditions are there or let us stick to the same values or the principles or the same situation or the same way of governance. No, we didn't stick to that rigid pattern. We have evolved we have evolved in such a way that we got adapted to the present ongoing situations or whatever situation or issue is ongoing today. So that kind of evolution is very important. It's a very key feature of us, that we have adapted to the needs of the diverse and vibrant democratic values. So, some more plans. We have established our Constituent Assembly on our Cabinet Mission Plan in 1946. Back then, actually, there were 389 members, and after it got summed down to 299 members because of the partition. And the members of the Constituent Assembly, whoever framed or who are considered as our forefathers, constituted from your even British Indian provinces and princely states. And a very proud moment is that there were featuring of 15 women members. So irrespective of caste, creed and gender, we constituent our members, or the Constituent Assembly was constituted by comprising the diverse people of the country. And also there were eminent leaders, as we know, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, our drafting committee chairman, and also considered the father of our constitution. Rajendra Prasad, our first president. Jawaharlal Nehru, our first honorable prime minister. Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad and Sarojini Naidu. This kind of eminent leaders has contributed in framing the constitution. And it took first session when people actually came and sat was on December 9th, 1946. And in 1949, we adapted. And 1950, the constitution has come in force. So adoption 1949 and came into force in 1950 because to celebrate Purna Swaraj. See, every date has a significant meaning behind it. So it's not like in UPSC the dates are not relevant, or it's not necessary to study dates or facts. No, it is very relevant. Because when you understand, if you understand why January 26 was celebrated or January 26 was chosen, if you go back or trace down, there will be definitely a significant point. In that way, you will cover the holistic syllabus. So dates and facts are also important. Next, yeah, and also, is it like we brainstormed the conditions or something? No, we got inspired from our Government of India Act 1935, and also we got inspirations from other nationals also. We didn't directly input it, but we tried to brainstorm in such a way, whatever the values they are following, and we took care that those values are suitable for our land. So we took from British Parliament, Irish, US, also USSR and Australia. So we got inspiration from other nationals and also as well Government of India Act 1935. What are the key features? Firstly, we are federal in nature with unitary bias. Very important. And we have fundamental rights, duties and also DPSPs. These are the key features of our constitution. Also, we have a detailed provision for our social justice, economic equality and minority rights. Do let us or ponder where do you have or where the constitution has addressed this kind of values. Ponder upon it, try to see where is exactly this kind of values located in our constitution. So now we will analyze what exactly has happened, what did we achieve in the past 25 years. So first thing first, very proud moment for every Indian citizen that we uphold our democracy since the day the constitution got adopted or came into force. It's never a time where we have witnessed a civil rebellion like situation where army has to come and take over, or dictatorship has come into place, or military coup has happened. That kind of unfortunate incidents have not occurred in India. So it's a very pride moment for every Indian citizen. We could conduct 17 general election with smooth transition of power. I'm telling you, one who understands the importance of democracy, one who knows the reaps and benefits of democracy can understand how safe and sound we are because of this kind of environment in the country. And we have also empowered our citizens with universal adult franchise or suffrage. We have never, even in the Constituent Assembly, there was no discussion or debate done. Once and everyone has come into one point that we are going to have universal adult suffrage, wherein they decided a certain age age, and also irrespective of gender or irrespective of economic status, every Indian is going to participate in the elections or be a voter. And also, we have introduced Panchayati Raj and urban local governance so that the democracy could reach the grassroots level. So, in that grand and strong way, we have upholded our democracy, and so far we have done so great. We can see in and around whatever neighboring countries itself as an example. And coming to our social justice, we have abolished untouchability. See, untouchability and caste are so related to Indian society or Indian land. We have come forward, and our constitution says that untouchability is like not being encouraged by state or even the private people as well, private and public. In both places, untouchability should and not be followed. We have given reservation policies for our SCs and STs and OBCs and also economically weaker sections. We have seen to it that no vulnerable section or no people of the society are kept away from the development. We try to pull them into the land, or we try to pull them into the development as well. So in that way, we have upholded the value of social justice, and also we couldn't leave the women of the society aside. We try to empower them by bringing Prohibition of Child Marriage Act in 2006 and also Sexual Harassment Act at Workplace 2013 and many more. Even if you could see our Ministry of Social Justice and Welfare bring number of schemes. Recently PM Vidya Lakshmi scheme and all such kind of schemes where we could encourage women to participate in educations, not only at the basic level but also at the higher education. We have tried to recognize women. Even we know that recently there was been a debate very grandly how women should be participating in politics and all. So in that way we could uphold social justice even to the vulnerable sections of the group. And economic reforms and inclusivity, like our LPG, like as we globalize, we understood that we need to open our economy, and then and there we have decided and tried to open our economy, and since then we could see how well our country is growing, how well the foreign people are coming and trying to invest, FDIs and all. So we took care of our economic reforms as well. And also we brought some progressive policies like GSTs where we could integrate both union and states in the economic circle. And also for welfare schemes like Manrega, we tried to provide job for people at least so that they can meet at least the basic necessities. So this kind of reforms also we have done, putting our constitutional as our frame or the skeleton or the living document of the country. Protection of fundamental rights. In Keshav Nanda Bharati case in 1973, we affirmed that the basic structured doctrine should not get disturbed and fundamental rights are part of it. So that nobody as a human being or as a born in the country of our land, every person has right to claim over certain, we have listed things. In that thing, every person has right over it. And also right to privacy, such kind of things. Right to privacy was not there back then. We've never discussed because back then that kind of complexity was not there. Today and all, if you see grand crimes are happening like digital arrest, some scammer will call you and tell that you are digitally arrested. We do not even know which kind of organization is calling you. So privacy breach has happened. We've seen the Pandora box incident, even our phone tapping, all such kind of incidents have happened. So in the evolving times, the crimes are also evolved. So we are trying to address them and bring such kind of progressive values like right to privacy. And also in our very proud Navtej Singh Johar case in 2018, we could uphold LGBTQ plus rights as well. So this shows how progressive our land is or our governance going, because the framework is already set. We need to just follow the enshrined values and principles of the Constitution. And also we are trying to balance federalism as much as possible. This is highly debated, but still we are trying to follow. Like our GST Council decisions and Article 370 abrogation. This is little controversial, will not get, but we are trying to balance the federalism so that all the states are equally being, inclusive into the policies, or trying to do justice equally for every state. And also we are strengthening cooperative federalism through Niti Ayog's whatever plan. It's the think tank, as we all know. It tries to put some kind of, suggestions or advices so that the center-state relations will go on further progressively without getting deteriorated. So we'll see last 4 amendments which have happened in our constitution. In 2021, we tried to identify socially and educationally backward classes, and we wanted to restore the power of states to identify this backward classes. And in 104th amendment in 2020, we tried to reserve the seats of SCs and STs in Lok Sabha and State Assembly by 10 years. And also we've removed Anglo-Indian reserved seats because the population has so negligent or so insignificant that their seats has to be reserved. That kind of, demand or that kind of gesture is being vanished. So we are trying to analyze the situation and bring the policies in that way. It's a very good thing. And also in our 103 amendment in 2019, we tried to introduce 10% reservation for economically weaker sections in educational institutions and also the public employment. In the same way, in 2018, we brought National Commission for Backward Classes, so that there would be a deeper and a very, very well knowledgeable analysis done for the vulnerable sections. So these are the recent amendments done to the constitution, and definitely because constitution for a very large, a very populous country of the world is not a small thing. We know that we are one of the largest democracies of the world. So there are certain kinds of challenges. If we try to address this, it's very good that we can go and progress in another 75 years as well. Judicial overreach. Obviously, the 3 organs of the government, they'll come and fight that you are taking my powers and all. So there are certain kind of hiccups when judicial overreach is happening, when judiciary is trying to take over the executive matters. And also centralization of power is happening, criticisms on our federalism, where union government is trying to discriminate or trying to do some kind of power dynamics with the states. There are delays in reforms. Policies are coming out, but it's taking time to get implemented. So in addressing gender equality, environmental rights and electoral reforms, certain delays are going on, because definitely we know we're trying to neutralize the statements, but these challenges are important to be addressed so that we can function more effectively. There is growing polarization. Balancing diverse identities while maintaining constitutional values remains a challenge, because we can see the polarization is happening in the religious matters, in the ethnic matters. We've seen number of times. Recently, Sambal violence has happened. Manipur is again going through very unfortunate situations. So this kind of the 2 edges of the spectrum are rising. We need to address this so that our democracy or the constitutional values can be upholded. So this is the question which I was talking about. Try to critically examine. First of all, I'm telling you to critically examine the role of the Indian Constitution in promoting social justice and equality in the last 75 years with some key policies and judicial interventions. So the key points you need to remember, try to give the policies and judicial interventions and what has happened in the last 75 years. Try to address this answer for 15 marks.